Welcome on in.
Is it just me?
Oh, some of us are still joining. So but right now, you are the only Obvio user that has joined. And remind me one more time how to say your name.
Really sorry, I lost them because Janine,
Janine.
I think in American, but in French it's Janine.
Janine.
Yeah.
Perfect. That I won't butcher it so bad when I say it later on.
Oh, don't worry, don't worry. I have a question, but I would wait until we start the meeting.
Yeah. Give another moment or two for folks to join in, and then I will start up the YouTube broadcast. And we got a couple people here, so let me just go ahead and start the YouTube broadcast, and then we'll get started here. Wow. We're just going to go ahead and get started because it looks like I don't have permissions to live stream. So, Janine, why don't you go ahead and kick us off for our Q&A on May 20th, 2026. What is your question?
My question is, you're not going to remember probably, but a couple of weeks ago, you taught me how to duplicate because I wanted my trainings to have an Obvio page. And then we were going to do the same thing with the 3-day event. Now, I'm a little bit confused. When you duplicate it, can you just give me the main changes that I need to do? Okay, other than what's on there, what do I need to change in GHL?
Yeah, so that is a great question. When you duplicate an event, it doesn't bring over the services. And so when you duplicate the event, let me go ahead and share my screen here so you actually see it. So once you come into your dashboard, you'd go under attendee services. You would need to click on go high level, go through the process to authenticate it. Once you've done that, then it'll give you the tag to use for that particular event to tag your attendees with, and you would need to tell it then which field in go high level would you want to write the URL for that event. I would create a URL for each of the events because you're going to have different attendees for your weekly versus your 3-day.
Okay. I need to start everything all over, change the text, I'm giving the colors, but that's what's happening, right?
Correct.
Okay. Let me try to do this. And if it doesn't work well with me, I will call back for questions.
Sounds fantastic.
Thank you. It's a busy day today. Thank you.
You are welcome. And Tom, you were next. And do you have welcome on in? Long time no see.
Justin, man, look at your backdrop. Look like a rock star.
I know. It's such a fun background. Even funner to sit in front of it and work events.
So that's real, I assume.
That is fully real. That is where I do my event production.
Frickin' love it. What's the harbor? Do you know?
So there's a custom built Windows machine on the bottom, and then
I meant the picture, the water, the harbor.
Oh, I have no clue. It is a Bing. It's a Bing photo that showed up one day, and I went, I love that picture, and I saved it.
I want to go there.
Yeah.
Good to see you, man. I just have one quick question. I've got some people that are not part of Leap that want to use Obvio, and I have no idea what to do to send them, where to send them, or what. I don't know. So I figured I better get a better answer than I don't know. Where do I send people if they just want to buy Obvio? They're not doing 3-day events. They're not a Leap prospect. At least I don't think they are. But where do I send them if they just want to buy Obvio and use it to run their events?
Yeah, so if you go to obv.io, we have a full sales page now, actually, and they can purchase I know. They can purchase any of the plans and on that page.
Oh my God, I go there and I thought I see the login, and so I assume nothing had changed. It just matches.
Ah, so
Perfect.
yeah, so
Perfect.
not all of that will work for you because you have an Avio account. If you happen to be signed into your Avio account, if you click any of the purchase buttons, it takes you into your account. For them,
Right.
because they don't have an Avio account, it'll actually take them to the purchase page.
Excellent. And small events, 300 a year, blah, blah, unlimited events, up to 3 days per event, 50 attendees, $1,000, 2,000 is 500 attendees. Perfect. Oh yeah, that's great. Awesome. You rock. I don't care what Chris Cummins says about you. You rock.
Thank you. Thank you. And it was great seeing you.
Good to see you, man. Take care.
Have a good one. And Juan, welcome on in.
Hey Justin, how are you, man? Nice to meet you.
I'm doing fantastic. Great to meet you as well. What can I do for you in the Avio space?
I was hoping you could clarify this for me. So I'm planning on renting a streaming studio to host my event. Um, and I actually went and looked at the studio a couple days ago to make sure I like it and all. And they obviously had some technical questions as far as what I need. So um, I guess my main question is I want to have in front of me as I present, all the attendees and all their faces. Um, and they were asking me if I want like a huge LED screen where I can see them all, or if I want just, you know, uh, regular TVs, right? Stacked, I guess, or piled up against each other so I can see everybody. Um, but they asked me how, because if you just open a Zoom meeting, a normal Zoom meeting, Zoom won't allow you to see everybody at once on the same screen. It starts making different pages, right? If there's too many
Correct.
people. So the question is, how do we make it so that you can see everybody? And does it matter? Can it be done in either the screens or the big LED screen? How does that work through Audio? I'm I have no clue how all that works.
That is a great question. And unfortunately, it's a limitation of Zoom. And whether you are using just your own Zoom account, whether you're using the Zooms that are available within Avio under the Zoom areas, that same limitation still applies of 50 attendees at a time on the screen. And so there is a tool that they have that Zoom has available called Zoom Tiles that allows you to do up to 100 users per screen, and you could do multiple galleries and put them across. So that's a potential option. It's another purchase from Zoom. You would still use Avio. You would join the meeting. You'd join Zoom Tiles, which is at the end of the day, it's technically a Zoom client, but it does some very different things. It'll give you up to 100 people per screen. The way that most people do them when they go to studios, if they don't want to go Zoom Tiles and have to worry about that, I've not used Zoom Tiles heavily in a big production. Is it stable enough to use? Not stable enough. I've seen people use it. I've used it on small productions and it works great. It's one potential option. If you are going to just stick with regular Zoom client, and then you're limited to the 50 per screen, or not per screen, because you can you tile them, right. It's 50 per instance of your Zoom client that's running. And so many times what you see, if you look at like Barry and Blue's studio, where you see the behind the scenes where they've got like 12 TVs in front of them, each one of those gallery views is a computer essentially that is taking the gallery view and putting it on the TV. So that's how you get more than 50 in most of the production studios, is each TV will have its own computer. You're behind it, they'll log into the Zoom meeting. TV 1 and computer 1 might have the first page of 50. The second computer, second TV would have the second page of the 50. And so that's how they they get multiple people across the screens as multiple TVs. So you're kind of limited to how many TVs you can fit in front of you, to how many people potentially you could see at once. But it's essentially 50 a screen.
Okay, you kind of threw a lot at me there. Let me give me a sec here. So let me process this. You're saying that the regular Zoom account, which is the one I would be using through audio, limits you to 50 like faces per screen, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Um, um, and then you said that there's this tool called Zoom Tiles that lets you do 100 faces per screen. Yeah?
Yes, as long as you, I will say you do need to have a bit of processing power to do it. Let me pull up drop in the chat here for you the site. So in the chat is the Zoom Tiles marketplace. You and liminal.com/tiles is the actual app itself. And essentially it's intended to design custom gallery views. And it'll allow up to 100 people.
Okay. So that is one option, and I would have to purchase that through
Through
Zoom.
Zoom.
How do I purchase that through Zoom if I am logged in through to Zoom through Obvio?
Yep. So those tools are essentially a add-on to Zoom. They're a bunch of different clients, and they have a license when you go to their site that you can actually purchase. And so it'll guide you through purchasing that side of it. I will say even with the 100 on it, you have to have a pretty big screen to still truly see people, be able to truly read their name. And as you get more people on, you got to think how small 100 people might be on a screen and how big of a screen you might need in order to make it big enough that you could see them, truly see their name. Because you probably want to read out a few of the names occasionally.
Yeah. But hold on. So this is an add-on that can be purchased through Zoom, but I'm
Yep.
not clear on if I'm going to be using the Zoom account that I get with Leap or with Ovio, and I'm logged in to Zoom through Ovio, how do I add that add-on?
Yep. So it's not it's not like a normal add-on. It's truly a truly separate license. And so you purchase the license for Zoom Tiles, and then you just join it to any meeting. And it just becomes a Zoom client that you can join to any Zoom meeting. And we could, if you end up going that route, we can help you be able to get that Zoom Tiles client into an Avio meeting. There's a little bit of trickery to get it in the meeting, but it's super simple trickery. And we can, if you go that route, we can help you get that all set up.
Huh.
And how many
Okay,
people are you planning to have at your event?
I mean, hopefully, I don't know, 300, hopefully.
Yeah, for 300, I wouldn't go through the trouble of doing Zoom Tiles and configuring it. And I would do, since your studio sounds like they have multiple TVs available, I would just have them hook up 2 or 3 TVs in front of you, and just join the meeting 3 times and just put each of the galleries on a different page for you. So TV 1 would be page 1, 2 would be page 2. I'd go that route. It's going to be a much simpler route.
Okay, and how exactly does that work? Each computer logs in as an attendee?
Yep. Or actually, well, because it's your event, what ends up happening is behind the scenes when you go into Zoom areas, you could literally just log into your Avio account on each of those computers, go to the Zoom areas and start it. So it'll come in as a co-host is what'll end up happening. Let me share my screen, it'll make a little more sense. So once you're logged in to your Zoom account, zoom in here a little for you.
Okay.
You could actually give like that studio team members, you could add them on as a team member so they could log in. And one of the things that you're going to want the studio to be able to do is start your Zoom meetings. So they'll be able to see in these Zoom areas, see the main stage or whatever you happen to call it, pick the test areas right here. And then literally they could flip on the open rooms. They're the first one in, they would open the room. If it's already open, the blue button would say join. And they just click the button and it'll launch their Zoom for them. And so they would do that on each of the computers. And it would make them a co-host automatically. They're really easy for them to join. And they just could,
Okay,
just
but
depends on
then
how many screens you want to how many computers they need.
but so essentially then each computer is joining as a separate attendee.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. And when they
Through
come
this.
in through the way that I showed, they will automatically be made a co-host. So each computer you join will be a co-host.
Okay. And then all they do is one computer shows the main screen and the other one just flips to the second one and shows the second one.
Yep. And they'll control that for you, making sure that when they join the meeting, once it gets past 50 people or 25, either 25 or 50, those are the two options you have. If once it gets past that number and there's a second page, your tech team will then need to go flip the second computer to page number 2. Once there's a third page, then they could go to the third computer and flip it to page number 3. And that's how you'll see more people.
Okay. That's interesting.
And that's how all of the production studios basically do it. Even the ones that you see that have a whole slew of people behind them on a giant LED wall, they're either scraping the gallery view and have software that takes multiple gallery views and combines them together to put them up on the wall, or they're using something like the Zoom tiles. Most of them are screen scraping something, the multiple galleries, and combining them. So it looks like there's hundreds of people on the wall, but really there's, for every 50 people, there's a new Zoom instance logged into the meeting.
There's a new, attendee, a new login,
Yep,
a
new login.
co-host. Okay.
Yep.
Now I get it that I can, for every computer that's logged in showing 50 or 25 people, I need a screen, right? So if, for example, let's say it's 400 people, then I need four screens and four computers, technically, right?
That would get you 200 people.
Sorry, 200 people, my bad. Yes. So I need four computers, four screens.
Yep.
Okay, and that's in the case that we use screens, like individual screens or four screens. How does it work if we use one big LED screen instead of four screens?
So same process, but your studio would need to have something that would grab each of the gallery views and combine them onto a big screen. So there's nothing specific Zoom wise for that. It's your studio that needs to actually do that work for you. But they still have to join. I mean, for 200 people, they would have to join 4 computers into the meeting.
Okay,
And then
and
they
it
would have
doesn't
some software to
matter.
do it. And that's up to them of how they get it on their back wall.
Okay, so that's not done through Obvio or Zoom. That's on their end.
That's on their end.
Um, okay, so they would have to tell me actually what's easier for them, if the big LED screen or the separate screens,
Yep.
right? As far as the
Exactly.
setup.
As far as the setup goes, it's what they're comfortable with doing. In a lot of cases, people go with the individual screens because it's just easier. Because you're still going to have the multiple instances, but it's up to your studio of how they want to get those galleries up. The process is still the same. Every 50 people, you're going to join, whether it's a different computer or they have an account with Zoom where they can join multiple Zoom meetings from the same computer. They're going to have a new attendee for every 50 people.
And how do you because you said you can do less people than 50 per screen. How do you do that? Let's say I want to show 25 or 30 just to see the people bigger and their names bigger. How do I choose how many to show per screen?
Yeah, so I can't screen share that one because it'll hide all the Zoom windows. But when you go on, you can actually even look at it in your computer. If you were to click on like the up arrow next to your video and pick video and effect settings.
Hold on. Video
There's probably another way to get there, but
and effect
I know where it's
settings.
at. And actually, if you were to click on the more button and then pick settings,
Okay.
you will see under settings, there's displays and controls.
Yes.
And one of these, okay, which one in a moment did I find it? Under participant video, you can pick 25 participants or 49 participants.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Obviously, if it's 25, it's going to make everyone bigger.
It does make everyone bigger. And today, we don't have enough people to make it bigger than what, yeah, but definitely if you had more than 49 or more than 25 and swip to 49, you'll see that they start shrinking. And when you go down to 25, it's definitely make them bigger. The one thing that it doesn't change is the name doesn't get bigger. The name pretty much stays the same size the whole time.
Yeah. So if I pick the 25 option, I obviously need more screens and more computers.
More screens, more computers. And in a lot of cases, the way to work around this is maybe the first part of the event, you have the first 2 or 3 pages shown. And then the second part of the event, you have them switch computer 2 and 3. Computer 1 almost always stays on the first page because that's where you'll see the attendee that you're talking to. And so you
Yeah.
always want to be able to see sometimes yourself, but definitely the attendee you're talking to ends up on that first page. And when people raise their hand, they pop to the front of the gallery view, so they'll be on the first page. The computer
Mhm.
1 never changes off the first page normally, but
Mhm.
computer 2 and 3, if you had 3 screens, partway through the event, you could have your tech team switch around what shows on there. You maybe go page 3 and 4, or do you go page 4 and 5? You have enough pages.
Okay. But if I did want to show every single person, then I obviously need, more computers, more
Yep.
screens.
More
Yeah.
screens, more computers. Exactly.
Um, okay, last question. This has been very helpful, by the way. I had no clue that all that thing worked. Last question. Why did you remind me again? Why did you say to not bother to go with the Zoom tiles thing? Like, why is it easier to do the screens thing?
Yeah, so the screen thing just works. Your team if your studio has never used Zoom tiles, it's something new that they have to figure out the ins and outs of and get configured and get familiar with it where they already know Zoom. And depending on the power of their computers, when you go above the 50 participants, it does start taking more computer resources. So you got to make sure you have a powerful enough computer if you're going to put 100 people on the gallery. So it's just more work, more effort on their part, more cost to you.
Okay.
And 100 people is going to be pretty small. Like you'd have to have a really big TV. Imagine 100 squares in front of you. Like you got to have a decent sized TV in front of you to make those people big enough that you can fully see the names. They don't get cut off. All of that. Because you can increase the name size with Zoom tiles, but if you have 100 people on the screen, there's not much wiggle room for the font size before it starts cutting off characters. Because people are just
Yeah.
small.
So basically, you're recommending the Zoom just because we already know it and we don't have to learn Zoom tiles. Did I understand
Yep.
correctly?
Yeah, you don't have to learn Zoom tiles. You don't have to configure it. Anything extra just
Okay.
works.
Okay. All right. Cool. I'll probably do that then. Yeah, thank you so much, Justin, for clarifying that.
You are welcome. If you got any other questions, we're here every Wednesday.
Thanks.
You are welcome. Hello, Nancy. Hello, Kat. Hello, Danetta.
Do you need
Nancy,
to get
any
busy?
questions?
Yeah. Are we open to just getting advice?
Yeah, let's Nancy. Let's start with Nancy. See if Nancy has
Okay,
anything.
go for it. Yeah. Gotta get that audio off. Hey, Justin, yeah, I'm using Obvio to practice with just having a weekly meeting, like with Kat King and all that, to discuss AI and what we're doing with it in the class. But all I do is go from the Zoom area to send them a link. But I'd like to make it a little fancier and have our homework assignments there. We have 6 sessions. It's Tony's AI program, or Dean and Igor's AI program. So how do I do it so that I can have some waiting areas for them? I mean, they can go into the dashboard area. All it is right now is they just go to the link to sign in to go to the Zoom.
Yeah, so you're looking to design a full dashboard, essentially, where you could put homework.
So I can practice playing with the dashboard without feeling the pressure of an event.
Yeah. So for that, I would say the best thing to do is if you go to the Obvio YouTube channel, I'll drop this in for you. Got here. If you go to the Obvio YouTube channel, you will actually see under video those at the bottom of the home tab. The top two, or the two, there is both dashboard builds. So it is either Blue or Grant walking through building out Liz's dashboard, and the second one is building out Jimbo's dashboard. And so you could see the process they're following from creating the event all the way through having a dashboard designed. And that would be the best resource for you to.
So I guess what's confusing me is I know how to play with the dashboard and all that, but it's that magic link. How do I do that?
So for the magic link, you have to add them as attendees. So
I have to what?
To add them as an attendee on the event itself.
Okay.
And because they've been using your area or probably your room registration link, if you were to go underneath the attendees tab or the attendees menu item on your event, you'll see all of them listed there. Yeah. If you click on each one of them, you will see that they have a login URL. That is the magic link.
Oh, okay. So I just go to the attendees thing, because
you can go to the attendee thing, or
play with the screens. Yeah.
The other option that you can do once you get the dashboard and everything designed is your event will have an actual URL. So like this event happens to be update.obv.io. When you click on the magic link, you're going to actually see that. Let me pull up I can find myself in here. I can share this one out. I don't mind sharing my email with you guys. So when you actually find the attendee, and here's some, I just happen to search for myself because I don't want everyone else listed.
Okay.
And you can see the login URL here. If I were just to give you this first part before the login, and if I'm not already logged into the dashboard, it's going to take me to a page where I can actually log in, which happens to be the login page. If you were to go under design and login, that's where it would actually take me, because I'm already logged in. It instantly logged me in. I actually had backwards here. So under design, login, you'll design up that whole page. This particular, their dashboard doesn't allow you to get to the login page with the way it's set up. But for your dashboard, you'd be able to get to it, put your logo on it. So you could just give out that URL. Like in this case, it wouldn't be update.obv for you, but whatever is in this first part, you just give them that once they're
before the word login.
Yep, before the word login. If you just give them that, it'll immediately take them right to your login page. It'll ask them for the email or the email and password if you have the password turned on.
Yeah, and then they get to see the dashboard.
And then that page will then send them to the dashboard, which is what all of you are seeing when you come to Obvio. Right. You see this little dashboard.
Okay. Because Kat, next time we work together, you'll see updated. I'll send you a link with with the Obvio thing. So, because I want to put all the assignments that we're doing. Thank you.
You are welcome. And if you get stuck on any of that, we do have both Carl and John manning the support link within Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're practicing AI and all the homework and trying to do all those like really cool pictures they do for Barry and Blue with their on their spaceship and all that. But
Very familiar with what Dean is doing for that program.
Yeah. I'll send a current picture of my twin and I. I'll show you my homework, Kat. Okay, thanks.
You are welcome. And Kat King, you are up. What is your question for
Oh,
today?
here. So I have my dashboard for my Rooted Mondays, as you know, you've helped me with that. But now I need to establish two different ones. And the first one I need to do is for my summit, that I'm going to need pages, a page to put all my speakers on. And you know what the normal things for speaker page, their bio, their lead magnet, all that kind of crap. So I need to do that. And then I need to do my 3-day one. So I want to talk about the summit one first, but I have to do the other one immediately afterwards. So I've been playing around, but I'm wasting too much time. So I need your expertise to know which one is best to use for to have a space for the speakers. And it's like I'm going crazy, going around redoing things, and I'm tired. It's like, Justin, just help me figure out which one I need to use and help me go forward, please, sir.
Yeah. So you have two options.
Okay.
One, you could add a blog post onto your dashboard and put all the speakers in there and bios and design it up.
Okay,
That's
stop.
option.
I needed to tell me the town hall or which one is the best one, because I don't want to make a decision. I need expertise. Tell me, just this one. It's easy. That's what I want you to do.
Great question. And let me share here and we'll look at
Yes, thank you.
at our template options.
Yes, I've been through them.
Yep.
But I don't know. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't want to decide. Just help me to get started, and that's all I need.
So what I would say is for your summit, may not be what you pick for your 3-day, but for your summit, I would go with either the Nifty 50 or the panels. And the reason for this,
give me one decision. Don't. Oh, you're going to show me both. Okay. The pros and cons for each. Okay, cool. Thank you,
they
sir.
look very, very similar. And the reason I would go with this one is everything's at the top and the speaker ears are right here.
That's a Nifty, right?
This one's the Nifty 50. And so I would go, there's this one, and panels is very, very similar.
Panels. Okay.
But you notice Nifty 50 just does a 50-50 split essentially.
Uh-huh.
And it's full, the panel goes full height.
Yeah, but I also like the way it looks like a website at the top. They just click. So I like that too.
Yep. Yeah, and so really the difference with the panels is there's a little bit of space at the top. You can see that there's a differentiation between left panel, right panel. You get a little bit more space on the right panel. So either of these two would work. Does one look better to you?
No, but you've narrowed it down, so that's good, because having too many choices is too hard, as you know. Yep. So those two are the two that would work the best. Okay, I can go work with that. I can do that. I just needed help to narrow down.
Yep. Yeah, and it's really because the menu's up here. Where if we were to
I think
look at
Nifty 50 for the summit. I think I like that. Okay.
Yep. Perfect. Nifty 50.
Okay. Now for my 3-day, which one do you advise? Because I think I've been using Classic or Town. No,
Yeah,
Town.
I like Classic. Town Hall is nice as well.
Classic?
Yeah, I would go with Classic. I think it's the simplest one for most people to get started with. You get all your buttons here at the top. Then you have essentially posts that you can make it on the left side, and then you have a right sidebar where you can put additional buttons. You can put your agenda, your downloads. You can have additional buttons as well at the bottom.
And if not classic, the town hall, you said, right?
Yeah, town halls is nice. I haven't used it on any events myself. I tend to stick with classic because that's what most of my clients like.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd go with classic or town hall, whichever one appeals to you more from a design standpoint. Pick that one. Functionality wise, they all have the same functionality.
Okay.
I think
And everything else on everything Avio can do it the same on all of these, right? Basically the same stuff, right?
yes, I'm going to give you one caveat that's very important for you though.
Okay.
When you change between templates, we do not guarantee that everything that you've done in a previous template copies over. So,
No.
so don't decide you want to do town hall and then pick classic after you filled it all out. You may be disappointed that
Been
everything
there,
doesn't
done
copy.
that. I understand what you're saying. Absolutely. I've had to start over so many times when
If I was you,
I like this
I
one.
would
No,
go
I'm
with
gonna go back to
classic.
that. Oh, I can't go back to that one.
If I was you, I'd go with classic. I think it's going to be the easiest one for
Okay.
you to
Yay.
get started with, for you to actually figure out. Now, town hall's got a few things that are a little hidden. Where classic
Yeah,
just,
I think
I
I'm
think
doing
is a little
town
more
hall for
obvious
my
for you.
Rooted Mondays, and yeah, yeah, for
Yeah,
Rooted Mondays it's fine, but no. I
I
agree.
love the town hall. It's just a few of the features aren't super obvious where you go and
Gotcha.
add them.
Okay. Thank you, sir. That's it. That's what I needed help with because I was ruminating and going no, too much. So thank you for my scattered brain. I appreciate you.
You are welcome. Kat Heber, welcome in.
So good to see you, Justin.
Do
I
you have
really,
an audio question for us today?
I don't. I feel like when I show up here, it's like I'm learning another language. So I do a lot of listening to figure out words, what they mean, all of that. So, but I do
Fantastic.
want to compliment you when I see you in here. You're like, you knew Chuck. Did you know Chuck?
Yeah, I know, Chuck. We still talk.
Yeah. The thing that you and Chuck both have is that you make it very easy to ask what it is that we need. And I really appreciate that. It's like I don't feel a need to defend what I'm thinking because my thinking is very elementary. That's all.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'll say a lot of that comes from me actually needing that same thing. Like, so many people are like, oh, you're in the techie space. It all makes sense. It's like, actually, no. Like a large percentage of it. I'm like, can you dumb it down a little bit for me? Like I know I'm in the tech space, my friends, but can you like make it kindergartner level so I can understand it? Like I've had that conversation many times over the years with other software programmers and technical people I've worked with. Because I just want to figure out how to use the thing. Like, I'd have zero desire to read the specs and dig into like, how did you create the operating systems and the programming languages? I'm like, nope. I just want to know how to use the thing. And like, you guys go and do that. And thank God there's people in the world that want to do those other pieces. I just want to figure out how to use the stuff.
I want to say yes. What Kat said, totally agree. I'm not afraid to come to Avio because you, Angria, and Blue have been amazingly wonderful since the time before I bought this computer, and y'all advised me, well, you're not going to get there with that computer. You need to get to the M class. So reiterate that. Absolutely true. Kat's right. I like coming here just to listen as well. Half the time I don't know what the crap y'all are talking about, but I appreciate your explanation.
Thank you. And Danette, welcome on in.
Thank you. I'm glad to be
You
here.
are up.
So based on Kat King's question, so every event we do should have a separate Obvio portal. So whether I'm doing a workshop or whether I'm pushing people into the 3-day event, they should have separate Obvio. They should not connect in any way.
Correct. Because if you think about it from an audience perspective, your audience for your webinar signups are different than the audience that is going to attend your 3-day event. It's going to be a portion of them, but not everyone that attends your webinar is going to buy an event ticket, unfortunately.
Okay.
And then same thing for your high ticket program, not everyone that's at your event is going to join your offer. And so each of those dashboards is going to have different content, different attendees in there. Now, with that said, you don't need a dashboard for every single webinar or version. Like I would do a dashboard for a given webinar, but you may run that webinar once a week and just keep adding people on to that. It's when that webinar goes from webinar A to now you're doing a totally different webinar, then it may make sense because it's different branding, different wording, being on there, different audience that you're starting with. You may do a different dashboard at that point in time and for it. But if it's the same webinar over and over, you don't have to do a new dashboard. Now, with that said, there are attendee limits before you have to buy add-ons. And so once you hit on the LEAP plan that you're on, and believe it is 500 people that have actually hit the dashboard. They've actually logged into the dashboard. Once you hit that, it asks you to buy more attendees. So it's one thing you have to manage in there if you keep reusing the same dashboard over and over.
Okay. So
for your events, you'll definitely have a different dashboard for each event.
Okay. So not based on time, but actual and not the same login. So if the same person logs in week 1 and week 2, that's 2 logins, correct?
No, there would be the same login. And so the attendee only gets counted once.
Oh,
no matter how many times they log in, they're only counted once.
Gotcha. Okay. Good to know.
May I add something to that?
Go for it.
I forgot her name because I forget things. But there's one of our people then that comes in, and she only comes in the Obvio stuff. So I don't think she's in Leap anymore, but she comes here. You might know her name better than I, Justin, but she is a producer, and she has clients that are actors, that are screenwriters, that are this and that and the other. And she has one place, but she designates by dashboard who they are and what days they come in and all that kind of. She has her whole business under one organization, even though because their dashboard are so separate, she has everything different for them on their dashboard. So it's only one place that she goes to, but depending on what time and everything else, they see it differently and they come in at different times.
That's interesting.
So there's and this girl, I'll find her name and I'll send it to you at some point, but she comes in here every once in a while. Smart lady. I have her notes somewhere that she taught me all this stuff, but she has her whole business under one login, under one place. But they know that when they log in as a producer or a screenwriter or this and that and the other. And it's just amazing how she's used Obvio to use her whole business instead of website and all this other junk. She's got it right there, all totally organized with it, lady. Oh my God. So it depends on what their needs are when they come in, I think, more than anything. Just FYI, you don't have to get one for every different thing. I am, because my thing is named different things. But since she has her business as the main thing they log into, she doesn't need separate things. It depends on what your needs are.
Right.
Yep.
So what I'm sorry. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, I was going to say that'd be the equivalent to running the same webinar and only having one webinar dashboard is kind of what the equivalent would be if we look at the event side of it, to what Kat was describing.
Right. So Kat's saying that, so if she's only working with producers, she turns on that producer dashboard and those people pop up, they're there. But if she's working with writers, let's say the producers aren't there, the writers are there, she clicks that on. Is that similar?
Yeah, chances are there's probably a bunch of rules without looking at the dashboard. There's probably a bunch of rules on various pieces of the dashboard to say only show the producer button to people that are tagged as a producer, only show certain content to people that are tagged as a writer. And that's how you get away with that. Very similar to how if you do the advanced move of having VIPs, it's the same thing where the VIPs only get to see the VIP things and all the non-VIPs get to see a button that says upgrade to VIP. It's
Okay.
all rules based.
Okay. Okay. So I have another question, which is probably something that everybody can answer except for me. So between ClickFunnels, Replit, and Obvio, what is the least path of resistance in connecting all of those? Or is Replit for something totally different? And I apologize, but I've been out for a month because of some water leak, but that's another story.
Yeah, so what I would say on the Replit side is it's an AI tool to allow you to create websites faster, slides, documents, mobile apps. That's the purpose of Replit. And so you'll see in a lot of stuff that's in the Leap space, they're giving us prompts to stick into some kind of a builder, whether it's Replit, it's Lovable. Go High Level now has a little studio similar to Replit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, at the end of the day, it's creating your websites. That's a lot of what's going on in kind of the Leap space to be able to get those in there. Now, as far as connecting Replit to ClickFunnels, I know I can speak on the Go High Level side, and I'm assuming ClickFunnels has something similar. I can actually hook up webhooks, something you can actually ask the AI to do for you, but there's a way to connect Replit in to Go High Level. So when someone signs up, I can actually, for it's free, I can just send over their contact info and I can write an automation or a workflow that'll add them into my Go High Level account if they don't already exist and tag them. There's also Stripe just very, very recently, within the last week or so, released some AI stuff to make it easier to try to connect your AI sites into Stripe to allow Stripe to actually process purchases for you. I've personally not played with that. We saw yesterday, we ran a master day and Blue was playing with that on stage quite a bit, trying to get that wired up in there. So that's one option. I've also seen people just literally put the CTA buttons that are on the Replit website. When they click them, it goes over to a page and they ClickFunnels that's styled very similarly, that has all the purchase form stuff in there. And once they fill out the purchase forms, it goes back to the Replit URL and it has the confirmation page that Replit is designed for you.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So the path of least resistance between ClickFunnels and Replit, is it just use Replit to design what I'm putting in ClickFunnels, or actually letting Replit host those web pages?
So it's a yes and yes, depending on what you want to do. Some people, and I've done this in Go High Level, at times I've had the AI design the page, and then I go inside a Go High Level and I've designed up my site to match as closely as possible what AI designed. That is the most work by far, because AI was ready to go and I then had to go and design all the pages. If you can get all of the pages done with AI to wire up to put your contacts inside of ClickFunnels, to navigate over to the purchases, that's the path of least resistance. If you're not great at designing pages and copy and all that stuff, the AI is great at designing pages and taking the copy that you give it and actually making it look really nice. That's really what we're using most of the AI stuff for in the website space these days. But that is the least path of resistance for design. There's still not a amazingly least path of resistance to get it then from I have a page designed to someone registers either for the free thing or someone pays me money. There's still a little bit of work to do in there that is not super smooth to figure out. But once you get to that spot, I would say come back on a Leap Q&A call or one of the Leap office hours, and Blue will help you figure out how to get all of that stuff wired in and navigated together once you have those pages designed.
Because ClickFunnels has the confirmation and the thank you pages. They're not designed so well. You're kind of restricted as to what they look like. Is that the issue?
Most of us are terrible at doing designs. So either you pick a template that is the one that you're least unhappy with, because pretty much every template in every page builder, not just ClickFunnels, but every single page builder out there, templates are almost always terrible. They never match your colors. They're never easy to get them to match your colors. Hard to pull out some of the images. You start screwing around with the template to try to morph it, and pretty soon it looks nothing like the template and you can't get it back to it. That's kind of what ends up happening when you do it by hand in a lot of cases. And the AI has just made it that much easier to, as long as you're willing to give up control, just let the AI do the design and you just give it the copy.
Okay. And so once it's confirmed and these people are added to your email server, who that is, whoever that is, Constant Contact or whatever, ClickFunnels will also send out those emails and allow you to do the automations. Is it better to go ahead and not use that and go ahead and use my regular database where I know that they're not going to get rejected, which for me is Constant Contact? Because my demographic for some reason uses that so much. It's not something that other people use, but they do in my demographic.
I would say it's less about the system for email and more about the domain reputation.
Okay.
And so if you've already got a domain reputation in Constant Contact, you've already got workflows in there, you might stay in there. The hard part starts to become where now you've got Replit doing a website, you've got ClickFunnels doing purchases, and it's really intended to also be an all-in-one platform to do email list and everything. And so now they're getting added in there, and now you've got this other tool that's also doing your emails. So now you got one extra tool that really you don't have to have it, because ClickFunnels will do all the emails and all the automations.
Okay.
You just have to build up the domain reputation, and pretty much every page builder should have what you need to do to actually build up the domain reputation. And really, it's sending out emails. Start sending them out on a smaller scale. Like if you had 10,000 people on your list, don't move to a new platform and immediately send out 10,000 emails. Like ramp it up. Send out like 500 one day, and then consistently send out several hundred a day for a week or two, and it starts to build the domain reputation. Start sending it as well to people that you might know and give them a heads up. Hey, I need you to actually go and open these emails. I need you to actually go and click on some of the links for me, because all of those things help build up domain reputation. And then I would go with ClickFunnels ultimately because it does the same thing. One less thing to pay for, one less software to have that potentially all of a sudden stops working. One less thing to try to get your contact from ClickFunnels over to Constant Contact. Somehow you have to have Zapier or something. Like, just gets rid of one messy thing that you don't have to have.
And so my ClickFunnels emails will send people who register to Obvio with that link, correct?
Ultimately, yes.
Those who
you have,
sign
yeah.
up.
Yep. You ultimately have to go into your dashboard and click on the ClickFunnels service and wire it up. But once you do that and tag them and Obvio writes back your URL, then yes, ClickFunnels would have all the info. You'd send your email to hey, our event's coming up. Here's your dashboard link. All that stuff would come from ClickFunnels.
Okay. Thank you for the clarity.
You are welcome. Any other questions?
May I just tell Danette about Pika? I got her name. You see it in chat.
Yep,
and
Tamara.
And how she develops that. I have all sorts of screenshots, but each one of those is like a whole website and a whole business, how she organized everything amazing under one place. I just wanted to show you how she gets it started. And she's the kind of person that if you contact her, if she has time, she'll meet with you. And she's so freaking generous. I mean, like Justin is explaining how she does stuff. I just telling you, we have so many great people in Leap that we have or in Obvio like her that have been doing this for years. And I mean, she does her whole business out of this thing. And she has different, you will not believe how deep each one of these goes into. I just wanted to show you that's there before you didn't catch it. There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. And Tamara is fantastic. I've had several conversations with her. And then, Bill, welcome on in. I know you're hiding behind the scenes, but any questions for us today? Cynthia, welcome in as well.
I'm just kind of watching as I'm working here, fly in the wall, and if something piques my interest, I'll chime in. But so far, great questions, and I'm just paying attention. I don't have any specific questions for you to address right now.
Perfect. If you do, we'll be here. And Cynthia, welcome on in.
Thank you. How's it going?
Going fantastic. Any
Awesome.
Obvio questions today?
No, it floated in because I saw in the email that said there was new things in Obvio, and I got in as soon as I could, but I just wanted to see what's new and not what everybody's up to, but like what other people's questions were and stuff. I haven't played with Obvio in a while, so I figured I better get back to it.
I had to go look at the email to see if they sent out something new. But we don't. But there are some new things coming along the way. Pretty much everything that is new for everyone that's on the call really won't impact any of you. For the most part, we've got the ability to archive events coming. Thinks of some of us that have lots and lots and lots of events that some of them are pretty old. We're actually going to add the ability to archive, so that they'll technically still be there if we needed to duplicate them again, but they won't show up in the normal list. This is a little bit of performance. Really, it's for people like Blue that have hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of events that sometimes show up when he goes into some of his orgs. Most of us are not that many. So that one's coming, as well the ability to only show a certain number of events or organizations per page. So it'll actually, like, if you had more than 12, it'll give you a button to click on. You go to a second page, you have more than 24, then you get a third page and you can navigate back and forth. So great for people that have lots of organizations or events. The last there's going to be a search in there for both organizations and events when you're within an organization. And then one thing that will actually potentially impact all of you in a good way is we're rewriting the countdown timers. So one of the big complaints on the countdown timer front has been the sheer amount of padding that is around some of the timers. Where you're like, why is there so much space on the top and bottom and I can't shrink it up? Like you see that in the classic template a lot, where it takes up a good portion of the header area when you add a countdown timer. So we're rewriting that to give a lot more options around padding and font sizes and backgrounds, and that will actually fix some of that padding issues. Functionality wise, it'll still be a countdown timer. It'll still have all the same functionality, just have more styling options. So that'll probably come out later this week. Probably by Friday. Our goal is to get that out. Those are the big things that are on deck right now.
Nice. And I know there's a couple of people that are using Obvio for like if they have clients or things like that. And I probably should do that because I'm paying for all these other things to.
I will say one thing to be aware of is you do need to download the recordings. There's no guarantee that they'll still be there after 60 days.
Yeah.
But we have more than once turned that on and gotten rid of things past 60 days. You'll need to download, and depending on how often you're meeting, the recordings page can actually get really, really slow.
Okay.
I know we've had a couple users that were having multiple daily meetings and they had hundreds of recordings in there, and their page got slow enough that it actually would take them 3 or 4 minutes just to load the recordings page, and eventually it just stopped loading for them. They had too many recordings. So just something to be aware that the workaround for that is at some point, if it gets slow, you end up creating a new Zoom area or another room within the Zoom area and start having meetings in there so that you can start building up more recordings.
Oh, so can you just delete the recordings?
You cannot. Not from your side.
Okay.
If we turn on the archiving for things older than 60 days, then yes, it would get rid of them.
Okay, because I I don't typically provide recordings anymore for clients. I used to, but it's a hassle because, I have to download it and then send it to them, remember to do it. And
Yep. Yeah. So in
so
your case, it's a
I send them the transcript.
yeah. So in that case, you're still going to have to do the recording because you want the transcript. If you didn't send them the transcript, then
Okay.
you wouldn't have to turn on the recording at all. But in your case, you still need the recording so you get the transcript.
Okay. And I don't do that for all clients either, but the transcript automatically gets emailed to me, so then I can just forward it, so it's easy. But the recording, with the Zoom, I have to go in and download it, and then I don't mind sending the transcript because it's easy. But anyway,
Yeah, and if you go to Avio for those meetings,
yeah.
we don't send you any kind of notification when recordings are ready, which includes the transcript. You'd have to go and check it hour or 2 or 3 after your meeting, depending on how long it is. To see is the recording ready, and then you have to download the transcript.
Okay, so it's not automatic like Zoom where they just send it to me.
Correct. Because it's not, if you're using the Zoom account that's available under Zoom areas, then you don't actually ever get to log in directly to that Zoom account. So it's got really no clue that it's you, where when it's your own personal Zoom account you're paying for, your email's on the actual account and it knows where to send things and whatnot.
Okay, got it. So that would, so then I'd have to do the same, go in and download things. All right, I'll have to think about that.
Yeah. And I also have to think about too, since you're not providing recordings, like Zoom quality doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't matter if your recording's at 640 or not. If you're doing a bunch of screen sharing, yes, it is nicer to have the higher definition that comes with the Avio Zoom.
Yeah.
Than a standard $15 a month Zoom. So the picture will be clear if you do a screen share. That is definitely one nice thing. Yeah, most of the $15 a month accounts, a lot of people don't turn on 720, which is the max you can get. And 1080 will be even nicer for the high definition. And so you can definitely get a bit of a clearer picture in there. That is one nice thing.
Say this again and show me how to do it. I was distracted for a second. What?
You don't have to do anything on your side. If you just use the Zoom areas, you automatically get the higher definition Zoom.
Wow. So is it the 1080?
Yep, it's the 1080 is what Avio will provide.
Nice.
Yep. So nicer for you in that side of it. And you have options if you're not going to provide a full dashboard. You could just give them the Zoom room link and they'll just come in. Just make sure you turn on the waiting room because you don't want the next client to come into your Zoom room while the previous client's finishing up. Or you can give them a full dashboard. Either way.
Okay. I don't know anything about the Zoom room link.
I can.
Zoom. I'm on my dashboard. Zoom areas. So that's what you're talking about?
Yeah. So when you go under Zoom areas.
Yeah.
I pick this test area and I drill down into the room. If you've enabled direct room access, you can give out this URL. And when the user goes to that URL, it'll pop up a little form depending on how you designed the login page. And you put in first name, last name, email, and it will allow them to get straight into Zoom. If your waiting room's not on, they're going to come and join you. If your waiting room's on, then they're going to sit in the waiting room.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I have to think about it because when people book, Acuity automatically creates a Zoom link and creates a Zoom meeting and then emails it to them. So it's convenient that way. So it's one less step I have to do.
Yeah. So what you would do in Acuity, if you went the Avio route, is you would take that direct room access. In Acuity, instead of telling it, create me a Zoom meeting each time, you would just say, use this custom link.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it just depends on if you want to Zoom for a true Zoom meeting for each client that you have coming in, or do you want the same Zoom meeting that they all come into, and then you just turn the waiting room on. That's what I do for my stuff. I have a link that I give out to the people, it's always the same for every single one of my meetings, whether it's a sales call, it's a client call, it's just a catch-up call, same one, and the waiting room's just turned on. And once the previous meeting's done, person exits, I let the next person in. If they're back-to-backs. If not, I close out the meeting and restart it.
Right. Oh, interesting. Okay. So I mean, so that would still work. Acuity could still link where it automatically sends them a Zoom link.
Exactly.
Okay. I might do that. All right. Thanks.
You are welcome. Nancy, I see your hand is raised.
Oh, I'm forgetting my question. Yeah, I was wondering if the workshop that we did yesterday with the mastery and all the stuff we did with Replit, can we do that to change the Obvio look too? I mean, the screens, or how would we best utilize what we learned creating better looking, funner screens in Obvio?
So I would ignore all of the stuff that you learned about using AI to do website designs when it comes to Obvio. Obvio is very template. So you have limitations in how you can truly design it. You can change colors, you can change fonts in there, or you can make buttons rounded, not rounded. But as far as like true website design, there's not that kind of functionality really built into Obvio. So it's more about copy that you might put on the dashboard. Like it could help you write a welcome letter. You had like a workbook. AI could potentially help you create a workbook or a website to go to that is your workbook. That's where you could use some of the skills that you learned with Replit and other AIs. But as far as designing the dashboard itself and having AI go through and do all the screens and whatnot, there's not the flexibility that you would want to have in order to do that. And there's nothing built into Obvio right now for that.
Okay. I was just thinking about it because I was watching Blue go creative on us, and well, let me try this and let me try that. And
yeah, it'll be great for the websites that you need to create, but not for your Obvio dashboard.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And in that
You're
question
welcome.
that Nancy asked, but she can change the backgrounds, correct? So
you can
whatever
change backgrounds. You can change what the header background is. You can change the dashboard background. You can put logos up there. So there are some design choices that you can make, but AI is going to design you a beautiful page if you had to ask it to design you an Obvio dashboard, and then you're going to find about 5% of it could be implemented and the rest of it's throwaway. So don't waste your tokens and AI funds on creating an Obvio dashboard with AI.
Okay.
And Janine,
You have your hand up.
yeah. I love how you said Janine. Love it, love it. My question is, maybe not related directly to Obvio, but everything that Blue did yesterday with Strike on Replit, and since you are also Go High Level expert, can this be done on Go High Level? Like have it do the whole payments, the 2-3 payments, and everything that he did yesterday on Go High Level?
Absolutely, you can. Yeah.
Through Replit, because you said there is a link now, or how would you do that?
Yeah, the hardest part that I have seen with embedding payment forms from Go High Level on other sites is it works like 90% of the time, and the 10% it doesn't work either shrinks up the section the payment form's in where you can't fully fill out the form, or it doesn't even render the thing right. So when it works, it's great. But part of the problem is it doesn't consistently work.
Okay.
And so a lot of clients I've had have not tried to embed the payment forms from Go High Level on other sites. Like I've had them do it on WordPress, and that's where we had the most issue. And whether it was a WordPress thing or whether it was just a Go High Level form embedding, I don't know. But Go High Level from itself can do all of the stuff that he described yesterday with the deposits and the multiple payment plans. All of that is built right into Go High Level.
We created though, we don't, because now Go High Level is starting to have their AI, right? I started seeing things like that, but would their AI, can I tell them, have this payments, et cetera? Can we do that?
That's a great question. I know you can get it to design funnels for you and create the sites. I haven't yet played with the AI Studio to see will it do the whole kit and caboodle? Will it actually create me the products and the different payment plans and put the payment form on the site? I would hope that it's in their AI Studio that's under Labs.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like a huge miss if all I can do is design pages, but I can't have people fill out forms. I can't have people do any kind of purchases. Feels like it'd be a huge miss. So I would assume it is there, but I've not personally tried the AI Studio yet.
We'll try it and see how. I mean, it was so good telling it, especially with the whisper, do these payments, and then it thought of it and told you what it needs to be done. I mean, it was awesome. I'm like, I want to do this on.
Yeah, and if you have this is the hard part when you have a CRM and you have AI. At some point, you've got to tell your CRM somebody purchased a product in there, and if you're using something like a Go High Level, that also allows you to do tracking of how much the business has made and everything. And you get to decide, like, do I want to have tracking now within Stripe itself or just the sites AI created, and then have tracking within Go High Level and the Stripe that it hooks up to, because chances are they're not going to be the same Stripe necessarily.
I see.
So you get multiple places, but both of them work. But it's kind of like you've got Go High Level, you've got ClickFunnels. It's so hard to pay for them and then only use a small portion of the functionality. And you probably bought it for funnel building, payments, automations, and email list. All the other stuff is bonuses.
Yeah.
So it's like now if you're using AI to do all of that, then ClickFunnels is down to just being an email list. And it's like, I want it to be more than that. Yeah, so there's not a great answer today for that. I think in 6 months they're going to close all of those gaps, and it's going to hook straight into Stripe. It's Go High Level, and all the other platforms are going to solve. How do I go build something in Replit or Lovable or whatever AI tool is out there and hook it truly into the Go High Levels and the ClickFunnels? And I got to imagine that has got to be coming in there. It's a problem that is ripe for somebody to solve, especially in the business space. And whether Russell fixes it and Go High Level fixes it, or whether the AI tools decide to make connectors. The next 6 months, I would be shocked if we don't have some easier ways to hook all of that up, so we can stop having to all figure it out. Because even I have to go figure out how do I hook it up.
From 6 months from now, with the speed we're going, we might be talking from the moon. You never know.
You never know.
Things are going crazy fast.
Yeah, even 3-4 weeks ago, there was no Stripe MCP server. And so the MCP server is how, when we hook up all these connectors, goes to the AIs, the MCP server is the standard for how does the AI know to go talk to Notion or Gmail or any of those systems that we've connected up. Stripe just released their MCP server a few weeks back. So now the AIs can do a lot of the stuff that Blue was going yesterday of how do I actually get a Replit site to go and hook up to Stripe and allow me to take payments. And before, you had to go read the documentation and figure out how can I try to get AI based off the documentation to write me some code. Now the MCP server will just do it for you and knows how to write all that code and do it the right way, and not you having to read documentation and hoping you get it right. But yeah, it's moving fast.
True. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Which is the template that Tony and Dean use? Is it cards?
That's a great question. I believe the majority of time I've seen their events, it has been cards, but definitely don't quote me on that.
And Justin, which AI tools are you using most often?
But I have 3 that I use, actually 4 that I use most often. But I use Claude a decent amount now. Really, Claude and Claude Cowork.
Yeah.
So Cowork is automating a bunch of stuff for me. Like I get a whole bunch of joint venture connections. So it's looking for every day morning at midnight, looks through my email for emails from a certain specific person. If my name's in the subject line, 99% of the time, that's them introducing me to somebody. So it's true. I got Cowork tracking that, putting it in a Notion database and letting me know so I can actually not miss the email.
So is it sourcing leads for you then?
Not sourcing leads. So I'm being connected. So like if you sent me an email, like in this case, I'm part of a program. So like if you were leading that program, you'd be sending me leads every so often and saying, then hey Justin, I want to introduce you to Kat King. And so I get those emails, but I also get hundreds of other emails. And sometimes I miss that email and 3 or 4 weeks later, all of a sudden I'll see something back from the person that I got connected to, like, oh, I'd love to get together. It's like, oh, I totally missed that thing. But now Cowork every morning just looks for, I know who it's from, and I know if my name's in the subject line, chances are that's them doing a strategic introduction to me to somebody. And so now Cowork will actually add that to a networking contacts database I have in Notion and let me know, hey, there's a new email. Go and actually respond back to the person. Go let them know, oh, you'd love to connect with them, give them out email. I don't have Cowork respond to the email. I could. I don't quite trust the AI to truly do a response, nor do I want to do a canned response. I actually want to look at the email. I want to see, does it make sense to actually have a connection with them? Do I need to ask more questions before I just give them a calendar link? But at least lets me know, hey, there's a new connection. I've got that one. I'm also using Cowork. If I drop in an article for LinkedIn into a certain directory, it'll actually go and process that article. It'll give me some thumbnail suggestions for the article. It'll give me a suggestion for what the post, like the little snippet that you post out to say I have a new article. So using Cowork a bunch for that stuff. I'm still using ChatGPT a decent amount because I've already got a ton of stuff in ChatGPT. It already knows me quite well. I have certain things that projects in there that are already set up, already work well. So I'm still using ChatGPT. I'm using Gemini just for images right now. That's where all of my LinkedIn article images are coming from, is Gemini. I haven't really used it for anything else. Notebook LM I'm using as a training tool. So taking things like, we actually have one internally for Obvio that we recently created where we took every Q&A call that we have on YouTube, added it into a Notebook LM notebook. And now as an internal team for Obvio, we can actually query any of those Q&A calls and ask it, how do we hook up Go High Level? What did we suggest for this? And it'll actually spit that back out as it. So it's a great way to do training resources. I also throw a decent amount of articles into there. I'll create a notebook for an article or two about a certain topic. I'm like, sum up all these articles, like, or in some cases, I have friends that are still at Intel doing software development that'll send me really, really, really detailed industry articles that are like 90 pages. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to sit there and read a 90-page article. I'll throw it in a notebook element and be like, go create me a podcast, or create me like a 15, 20-minute podcast that sums it up, or it'll create me a slide deck that sums it up so I don't have to spend time reading a 90-page article. Wow. And let's be real, those articles are super, super dry. I would never get through 90 pages anyway. So Notebook LM is great for that stuff. The difference between Notebook and all the other LM and all the other tools, Notebook LM only uses its sources that you've uploaded. Mm-hmm. Unlike Claude or ChatGPT that reach out to all of the information that's ever gathered off the internet, Notebook LM only references the sources you upload, whether it's transcripts, videos, slides, websites you've pointed it to. So great for that one.
The advantage of that is that it avoids any potential class action suit for borrowed materials.
Not necessarily, yes. And really the big advantage is if I'm trying to learn something, I don't need it to try to interject in what it thinks based off of all the other things that it's gathered. It still could hallucinate, but the hallucinations are a lot less because the sources are only the things that you gave it. And
Yeah.
so, like in the case of Tony and Dean's Summit, that's when you bought, I don't even know what level of ticket it was, but one of the levels of ticket gave you all the transcripts. And so I uploaded the transcripts into a notebook LM. And then I could query things based off the actual transcript of all 3 of the days, which was great. Like I wanted to remember, what did they actually offer on day 2? Well, if you try to go to their sales page right now, it redirects you to a waiting list page. You don't even get to see what the offer was.
Right.
Well, it's in the transcript. So you can put it in notebook. I'm like, can you tell me what the offer was on day 2 and all the features and bonuses? And it spit out all the stuff as a reminder. Or I could ask it all kinds of questions. So great way to do it as a training tool. And that's really what I'm using it for more than anything. That's what I think a lot of people are using for is as a training tool.
Do you know that the former head of AI for Tesla and ChatGPT is now been hired by Anthropic or Claude?
Yep. Those people are always moving around.
Uh-huh.
I mean, why wouldn't you at the prices that they are willing to pay them?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that, yeah, I think it's a great thing. I think at the end of the day, like it'll further Claude, which then in turn is going to further all of the other things. As competition and gets new features and starts leapfrogging, it breeds innovation at all the other AI companies to try to keep up and to do new things. Like if you look 6 months ago, there was no co-work. There was none of the, like, I mean, there's been Claude Code for a while, but not like we have it now. There wasn't agents really at the level we have them now. And there, as soon as we started getting co-work, we started getting other people doing the same thing. Yes. So those are the big tools I'm using.
Do you think that, I'm sorry, guys, let me do one final question. Do you think it would be useful for us in Leap to have like some kind of monthly training on AI since it's changing so fast and it could help us in our businesses?
I would say no for Leap because the intent of Leap is all about events and running events. Yes, for something like a Tony and Dean boot camp. Tony and Dean also have a monthly AI Advantage Club where they give you a monthly masterclass, an hour-long training on something. They also do hacks of the week. They've also you get a monthly, what is the best tools? There's a slew of things in their AI Advantage Club, like a $37 a month program. So some stuff like that would be the place to do AI training. I don't see us consistently doing AI training at the level that they would do. They'll have some like Blue's doing. Because you need to know how to create offer pages. You need to know how to create your webinar pages. You know how to create slide decks. And yes, there's some AI in there, but not at the level that you would want to get trained of how to run the business outside of events.
Thanks. Thanks.
You're
Justin.
welcome. Pat King, what do you got?
Well, my question was because you mentioned Notebook LM or LM Notebook and Notion. And I want to go along with what Kat said because my question was first, okay, he's mentioning this stuff that he's using. We don't have to use it. I don't know about you guys, but I think overall, all of the Leapers game shot up after Blue improved Obvio 2.0 and taught us Replit. And I think that has been amazing to help us all. And I do believe that if Notion and Notebook LML Notebook helps us to organize would be helpful because just understanding spreadsheets to help us understand how the 90-day checklist is helpful is great. But that's a whole hell of a lot of information. And it's hard to understand what we're supposed to do with all that stuff. So if we were to have some classes on, okay, this is one way you can organize all this stuff that you need for your 90-day, you need for your event, you need for your email, you need for this stuff. This is how to get the organized. I'm going on with Kat and her idea because it goes along with what I wanted to do is So can you all teach us more about that? Because if it helps us organize our business, our event and stuff, it goes straight along with what we need to be doing. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I want to know more, and I prefer learning here because a lot of other places where we learn from, we don't hear from people like you and Blue and Grant that are patient and stuff. It's sort of like, here it is, throw it on the wall, go get it by. We gave you everything. So
Yep,
yeah,
go watch the
I want to
recording.
go along with Kat. I think y'all would explain it much better.
And I would say bring that to office hours or submit that into to Barry and Blue. I definitely have. I am not on the Sage team. I'm only on the Obvio team, so I have no insights into what they are planning for Leap. And funny enough, even though I'm on the Obvio team, which also has all of the OB developers, I also normally get to see all the new stuff at the same exact time that you guys get to see them. Blue tends to not share that stuff with me ahead of time. So it's always kind of fun to join Master Diz and other stuff to see what do we got
I
coming
think
for
the
us.
2 cats getting up on Blue, you might just listen. So Kat, we're being a team. Janine and Danette and Cindy and Nancy, y'all hearing me? Let's do it as a team.
You think we should get our roar on, girls?
We can. I'm a Leo. I know. I'll roar.
Very nice. And Janine, do you have
my question is
another-
actually for Obvio, because one of the sessions showed that you tested with some people some kind of e-commerce. They were selling concrete merchandise on it. I do not have that, but in my courses, I can give some tips for people and they can, buy them if they want, let's say their color palette. Can I request that, or was it only for a period of time? Are they stopping it? Are they not planning of continuing it?
Yeah, so you might be talking about the Avio marketplace
Yes.
which was really intended to, and you could use it for product, but it was really intended at one point in time as a way to purchase tickets. It is actively not being worked on and actively planning to get rid of it. But at the end of the day, because what it really ends up happening when you start looking at that is it was great to sell the tickets, but then you needed some place to be able to sell your actual offer, to be able to take payment plans, and marketplace doesn't do payment plans at all in there. And so already you had something like a ClickFunnels or Go High Level. So it didn't really make sense for us to try to do our own page builder. And at the end of the day, we don't have the size team that ClickFunnels has or Go High Level has, and no sense in trying to compete with them when they are fantastic page builders. And you're going to need something like that anyway at the end of the day. And so what you
I can
could
send them to Go High Level, right?
Yeah,
They do
exactly
have that.
exactly what I would do. You put a button on the dashboard or a link down if you've got like a sidebar resources section, you can put a link to wherever that product purchase page is. And that would be the way to actually do that. And it gets you more control. It's built right into Go High Level. If it's expensive enough where it makes sense to have payment plans, and you can also do that within Go High Level.
Well, thanks.
You're welcome. Danette.
My question has to do with Kat talked about, and so when it comes to the 90-day checklist, I love that checklist. It is just absolutely amazing. My question is, how are y'all keeping track of your information? Because for me, I love having it on Notion, placing it on Notion, keeping track of it there, but also want a physical copy. So, I mean, I'm just interested in what y'all are doing, because there are days when I'm traveling and I need to have it with me. But there are days when I'm logging it into Notion and doing that. But I want something simpler. Any suggestions from any of you?
I don't necessarily have a suggestion for that one for on the go. I tend to use Google Docs a lot, and tabs within Google Docs.
Right.
And so You can make those offline if it's something where you're traveling and won't have internet.
Right.
The mobile interface for Google Docs is way nicer than Notion. It's the one spot where Notion kind of starts to fall apart a little bit if you're truly using Notion for more than a word processor, more than like a notes and stuff. The mobile interface just isn't great, and there's no real way around that for all the functionality that's built into it. Great on the desktop, great on a tablet, but the screen size of a phone is not great. And so I tend not to put as much stuff in there for on the go. I definitely tend to do whether it's a Google Sheet if I need a spreadsheet, Google Slides if I truly need slides, I don't, and then Google Docs.
Did they answer you back or no?
So just placing them all into like a book on Google Docs, is that correct? I mean, or something similar.
Yeah, it's called within Google Docs, you'll see on the left-hand side, there's a little outline, or I think they actually call it tabs now. And so you can do up to like 100 tabs on there. And so you can split that apart by topic. Is a lot of times what I'll do.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we think of it like in the Obvio space, like I have one tab that's all my right fit client info. I have a second tab that is more around what's my event going to be about, what's my method going to be about. And have a third tab that's all about my PAG, and then a tab for marketing stuff. So that at least segmented off, and it doesn't become a 500-page document that I can't find anything in.
Okay. And they're within one document?
One document.
Just different tabs.
Yep. Multiple
And
tabs.
are the slides in there too? Do you also upload those slides that Barry gave us, Barry and Blue, and then add our own slides in the middle of that? Is that possible? Is that where they live?
It is absolutely possible. I've had people do both. I think it works. It depends on who's controlling your slides and what view you can see. But somewhere you got to have the housekeeping slides. And so it's really difficult to show your slides, then bring up the housekeeping when you need them, and then go back to your slides. But most times it does make sense to put your slides in the housekeeping deck in the spots they need to be. This is also why 2 monitors is really important, so that you can actually see the presenter view side, even if you don't have notes. Because the presenter view shows you what's the next slide coming up. I can pretty much guarantee in a 3-day event where you may have 300 or 400 slides, you probably don't know what every next slide is. And the presenter view allows you to see what the next slide is. So you can see, is it a housekeeping slide? And before you click the clicker to go to the next slide, you can stop your screen share.
Okay.
Because you don't want the audience to see your housekeeping deck, or they don't need to see that. But if you happen to leave it up, so be it, but they really don't need to see your housekeeping deck.
But you're keeping those slides together, and when you're organizing that, those slides are all in one deck, and you see the housekeeping one, and you just kind of switch that over to the presenter who sees.
Yeah, if I'm controlling the slides, definitely I will. What if I see that as the next slide? There's a fairly obvious point. Normally, if you listen to people's speech, where they don't need the slide up anymore, so I'll take the slide down. I'll keep an eye on when they get past housekeeping and it's back to a non-housekeeping deck. Like as the AV team, I would listen for when they get there and try to bring up the slide when it sounds like it makes sense. Sometimes they ask before I get there. Other times I just listen to the patterns and like, oh, you're on this topic. Like, let me bring the slide back up for you.
Okay.
And I have seen 2 trains of thoughts on slides. I've seen people do just one slide deck for all 3 days. And I've seen people do a slide deck for each of the days. So they'll go in and take the housekeeping deck and split it into 3 slides. So day 1, 2, and 3. And if you've got a day 0, a 4th deck for day 0.
I like that idea a lot.
Yeah. And the other reason for that is sometimes it's just easier to find slides. You don't have 300 or 400 slides. Makes the file a little bit smaller sometimes.
Sure.
But there's no rhyme. There's no real like pushing need to have it as multiple decks. Because some people like to have the smaller decks.
Okay. Thank you. Great. Great.
I have a problem with this housekeeping deck because I,
I'm
unless
thinking
you have a
before you
screen,
get into that, I'm thinking Bill, you're getting a whole side of Leap. Leap. Hopefully, we'll see you in the Leap program at some point. Go ahead, Janine. Tell me about the housekeeping deck.
the the way we put it, if we're gonna skip it and you're presenting and now you have to, well, I bought that Roadcaster Video S that Blue talked about, now it's easy to switch, but I think it's gonna be complicated while we're in there if it's a one person show. So if I put it on a different screen, I feel like I'm gonna be reading it. If I put it and skip it, like you said, it's going to be complicated. Do you suggest like a bigger screen on top of everything so we can, like, I have 3 screens, but they're all either monitors or laptops next to each other. How will I manage to put all those properly and be able to read that housekeeping deck?
So it is big enough screen for sure. Like if I pulled out my laptop that's behind me, is it me? Nope, it's in the room now. But it's a 13-inch laptop. Like there is no way I'm going to read the housekeeping deck on a 13-inch laptop. Like you'd really know I'm reading off of it. But versus I've got 27-inch monitors in front of me. Depending if I put it on the monitor that's got the 1920 by 1080 resolution on it, I can read it. If I put it on the other one, the other one's just a little bit higher resolution, that's harder to read. Or if I put it on like a 55-inch TV, it's even easier to read. Like I can stand back a ways. If I were to actually be standing and presenting and moved back, even on the 27-inch monitor, it's still tough to read them well. On a 55-inch TV, way easier to read them. So some of it is sizing of what's in front of you in there. Some of it is just being comfortable with where's it at. Trying to get your screens in front of you as much as possible so that when the housekeeping deck's up, you can still be looking at the camera. Because my housekeeping deck's way over here, like I'm not looking at you all anymore in order to read it. And so if you can get it in front of you, even better. If not, some of it's just practice. Like you start after you've done it for a while, knowing what is the things to necessarily say, what are some of the words in there, or the first time you may end up reading it.
So you don't put the people on the big screen in front of you. You put your deck.
I mean, yes and yes. So you really, this is where a lot of times you end up with multiple big screens in front of you. One can have your slides on it. One can have your people. And it's an advanced move. Let's be honest that it is an advanced move to build up that studio kind of setup. And when you look at even the small studio at Sage, they've got 4 big TVs that you're standing in front of. And you've got a table that they're there. And on those TVs, the top 2 are galleries. And the bottom 2 is one's always the slide deck if you have one. One's also the presenter view that's coming up. And they can switch what's on there. But that's typically what is going to be on there. But it's definitely an advanced move to now have potentially 3 to 4 computers and routing and 4 TVs and really getting them mounted, whether it's on a stand, whether it's on a wall. Like there's a lot of processing that goes into and a lot of design of how do I set up the studio? How do I get it wired? How do I put all the right things on the screens? But as you get more comfortable, with it, definitely that's one of the upscales to potentially do is more screens, bigger screens, so that you can clearly read what's on the slide deck. You can clearly see the people. And if you ever look at Barry, their camera's not right in the center of all the stuff. And so you can sometimes see that she's got some visuals in front of her that she's reading off of. They're big enough though that it's not super obvious. And she's also good enough to not do the head scan and the eye scan. Yeah. That's a telltale giveaway way in there. And so bigger it is, the further back you're able to stand, and the more you don't have to scan left or right with the head or the eyes. So a lot of it's just practice at the end of the day, knowing what those things are going to actually say on the slides, kind of having a clue where you might go with it. And then some of it's going to be reading.
I think because I had also got the prompter, but I'm not sure what the prompter is. Not that big one, it's the normal one. So I was thinking of putting the people so I can see them while I was talking to them and but then I cannot put the slides. The slides should be somewhere else. I'm going to figure it out. I mean, I have enough screens to see what to do with it, but
yeah, the prompter one's tough. Like, even I've got the big prompter here in front of me, but if I try to work off the prompter, it's still far enough away. Screen's still only 15 inches. Like, and so a lot of times, if someone's like shares the screen and they're not doing a Zoom screen share where I can actually zoom in on it, and if it's just done through the camera, I'm dragging my Zoom to one of the bigger monitors and enlarging it. And you'll literally see me turn and look this way so I can actually see it on the other screen.
yeah,
And when it's done, it's like move it back to the prompter. So you have to have a really, really big prompter. It's great for meetings, like things where I don't need to necessarily look at a ton of stuff. Great for that. I get to look right at you, look right at the camera, and not have to worry about it. But if I'm truly trying to see people, like I can't read any of your names, just to be honest. Like I only get to see 3 names, and it's all 3 of the people that have the camera off because their name is nice and big. For all of you that have the camera on, I can't actually read any of the names on the prompter. And I'm only seeing 9 total people. Well, and so you could imagine if you had an event with 25, 49 people on the prompter, I just can't actually read the names.
Yeah.
And so that's where like the big screen TVs come in. Like even at the small font that the names are in, if it was on a 55-inch TV in front of me, like it's still a decent size to read the names. And I also don't have great eyesight, but I do have glasses that try to help. It doesn't mean I can read small print from a distance.
And Justin, do you keep the chat on that same big screen? I have a 43-inch screen. So you keep that chat on that screen so that you can stand back far enough and read the chat and see the folks.
Yep. And one of the nice parts in Zoom's chat is you can actually zoom it in. And then so on Windows, Control plus or Control minus will zoom it in. On a Mac, Command plus, Command minus, when you click into the chat, will actually zoom it in for you.
Oh.
So, yeah, so I keep my chat a little zoomed in on my prompter so I can actually read that. And same thing when you're on the big TV, you can actually zoom in the chat a little bit, which makes it even easier for you to read it. If you have another screen, you could go vertical chat and get even more chats. But in a lot of cases, I have clients that have both the gallery view and the chat on the same TV.
Okay, cool. Okay, awesome.
Any other Obvio questions or event questions?